Thank you all for being here with us. We'll get started in just a few minutes. Thank you all for being here with us. We'll get started in just a moment. We're just waiting for a few more folks to funnel in the room. A few housekeeping notes before we get started. If you experience issues with your audio, please check your Zoom and computer audio settings. Exiting and re-entering the Zoom link can also resolve issues. We'll address as many of your questions as we can during a Q&A session at the end of the program, so feel free to submit your questions using the Q&A function in Zoom throughout today's presentation. Thank you for being here with us. Now I'll turn it over to CFP Board CEO Kevin Kelly.
Thank you so much, and thank you all for being with us here today. I'm here with CFP Board's Managing Director of Marketing and Communications, Jim Katsounis, and Gabby Finizzi from Bunton, our advertising partner out of Nashville. We're excited to share details with you about the public awareness campaign and give you a sneak peek at the new creative that launches next week. Before we dig into the things to come, we will share with you the history behind our ongoing public awareness efforts and the campaign's success. We'll discuss the campaign's objectives and outline the strategic media plan for 2024. We'll show you the new television spot and the other creative elements of the campaign, and we'll detail our strategic public relations efforts that bolster the paid media initiatives to raise awareness of CFP certification and support the CFP professional community. One of CFP Board's 5 strategic priorities is awareness. The public awareness campaign is central to advancing this priority and enhancing recognition of CFP certification as the must-have designation for both financial advisors and consumers as well. I've been here at CFP Board since 2007, and from the very start, growing the brand recognition of CFP certification has been a top priority of the CFP Pro community. Certificants overwhelmingly supported a fee increase back in 2011 to fund the initial public awareness campaign, and we've continued to this date. And so to this day, CFP certificants consistently rank growing the brand as a top priority. This year, we embark on the second year of our 4th public awareness campaign. We refer to it internally as version 4.0, and it launches Monday, March 18th. I'll now turn it over to Jim Katsounis to talk about our campaign strategy.
Thank you, Kevin. The campaign strategy is to increase awareness of and preference for CFP certification and intent to use a CFP professional. The campaign's target audience we call the mass affluent initiator, or the MAI, and is a proprietary subsegment of the mass affluent. Their ages 35 to 64 years, educated, employed, or recently retired, with a minimum household income of $125,000 and investable assets of $100,000 to $1 million. And they're psychologically predisposed to working with a financial advisor. It's Gotta Be a CFP launched last year with the vignette we call Bungee. The campaign was a true breakthrough and CFP certification reached all-time highs for total awareness and preference for CFP certification among our target audience. It emphasizes to consumers that asking the right question can greatly impact your future. The creative draws a parallel between a high-risk situation with the feeling of uncertainty and the confidence and security one feels when working with a qualified professional. The campaign also emphasizes a CFP acronym, and its call to action to find a CFP professional is more direct. Our second vignette, which we'll share with you in a few minutes, will run for 9 weeks through May 19th. Kevin will now share how far we've come since the first public awareness campaign in 2011.
Thank you, Jim. Hey, before we continue, for those listening, if you have questions or comments, please use the Q&A function that's part of the Zoom platform, and we'll get to as many questions as we can. If we don't get to your question today, someone will follow up. So all of the campaigns that we've had to date have been successful in elevating the awareness among our target audience. In 2011, before we launched the first campaign, unaided awareness of CFP certification stood at a mere 17%. This means that only 17% of your most pertinent prospects could recall the CFP certification without any prompting. Fast forward to 2023, and this figure has doubled, which is a really noteworthy achievement when benchmarked against industry standards, and again, considering the scale of our budget. Total awareness encompasses both unaided awareness and aided awareness, or recognizing CFP certification when prompted. Total awareness since we launched the campaign has increased from 75% to 90%. The number of other brand vitality metrics have grown also since the earliest days of the campaign. Survey respondents demonstrating a preference for CFP certification has nearly doubled. And those who tell us that they intend to use a CFP professional has nearly tripled. Elevating total awareness and preference remain our primary objectives for the campaign this year. I'll turn it back to Jim to walk us through the details of this year's campaign.
The campaign launches next Monday, March 18th, and as I shared before, will run for 9 weeks through Sunday, May 19th. The bulk of the campaign is during the spring, during tax season, when finances are top of mind for our MAI audience. There are evergreen elements to the advertising campaign that continue year-round, which we'll share shortly. In partnership with our agency, Bunton, we believe we've crafted a media plan that delivers a combination of the right media channels and frequency to get us the best results. As Kevin shared earlier, this year we have a wide breadth of media partners, with some reflected here. We know the core media usage habits of our proprietary target audience. They are significant consumers of news, sports, lifestyle, and financial programming. Analysis of last year's campaign showed us that 30% of our MAI target audience tune into sports programming. So we added 10% more sports programming into this year's campaign. The campaign has a $16.9 million total budget. To ensure we maximize our resources to the greatest impact, we have a narrowly defined target audience, the MAI. The bulk of the media spend is over a 9-week campaign, and television is used for mass reach as well as frequency. 72% of the spend is spread over traditional broadcast or cable TV and connected TV, such as Roku and internet streaming services. We have some exciting sponsorships opportunities this year, including the NFL Draft, MLB Network, CNN's Before the Bell programming, and Washington Week on PBS. About 30% of the media budget spend is over the remaining channels, including digital media, which includes pre-roll video, animated display banner, as well as interactive media advertising. We have new integrations with premium partners such as the Associated Press, Forbes, the Wall Street Journal. Audio consists of streaming radio placements on Pandora, SiriusXM, iHeartRadio, and a new partner this year is Spotify. And as well as broadcast radio placements on NPR and the American Public Media. Paid social on Facebook and Instagram, as well as a few tests with other channels. And print, which is new this year in 2024. This year's campaign aims to drive at least 1.3 billion impressions. Impressions are the total amount of exposure of our content that it will receive. And now, what you all have been waiting for, Kevin will show us the new creative for this year's campaign.
You know, the TV is great. Gabby, I'm going to ask you before we go on. One of what my friends, who I think largely, many of them fit our target audience, I hear more feedback on radio, on National Public Radio and American Public Radio. Why isn't that percentage bigger?
I believe that audio is great for awareness, and it's something that we definitely want to have on the plan. I think TV is the most for every other secondary target that we have, essentially. So TV is going to be our number one for awareness, and radio will always supplement that.
Well, we'd love to spend more, but we have a limited budget. We have to allocate those resources. Jim, thank you for that setup. It's Gotta Be a CFP is our campaign tagline, which is a continuation of the campaign that we launched last year in 2023. As Jim mentioned, the campaign emphasizes the CFP acronym. The campaign's call to action is find your CFP professional, which will be used across all channels, all media, online, in print, over the air, etc. This call to action drives consumers to letsmakeaplan.org, where they can search for a CFP professional. That original website was created back in 2010 or at the end of 2010, 2011 to be our consumer-facing website. We call 2024's campaign, the commercial, we call it Surgery. And finally, we're excited to share with you the new Surgery TV advertisement. We'll play for you first the 30-second ad, and then the 15-second version that follows.
We'll try it one more.
Okay. I think we're having some obviously audio problems. Why don't we do this for the team here? Let's send the YouTube link out immediately following to everybody who was pre-registered. I apologize. We changed platforms over to Zoom. Lynn, or you feel like you want to try one more time, or you?
No, I don't.
All right, apologize for that. We will send the link, the YouTube link, right away. I would now like to welcome Gabby Venezzi, who joined us from Nashville, where Bunton is headquartered. For those of you joining us today, Gabby is one of CFP Board's day-to-day account partners. She's been working on the campaign from its start. If you would please share with us some of the new media tactics they can expect this year.
Thank you, Kevin. It's great to be here today with you and Jim at CFP Board's headquarters in the nation's capital, just blocks away from the White House. CFP certificants can expect to see It's Gotta Be a CFP across all the same successful media tactics as last year, with the addition of a few new channels this year. We'll have front page ads in the Wall Street Journal above the fold and below the fold in the weekend edition on April 14th, the day before tax day. There will also be live in-program connected TV placements to meet the target audience where they are actively engaged through picture-in-picture messaging. This doesn't take them away from their viewing environment. With technology advancements ever evolving, we're able to track real-time attribution from our TV spot to understand the response rate from our audience. This helps us understand if and when our audience is going to the letsmakeaplan.org website after seeing our TV ad. The campaign also includes branded Financial Planning Week, brought to you by CFP professionals on Fox Business. Lastly, one of our big initiatives this year is through the Associated Press. We will have an interactive infographic unit displayed across their website during the 9-week campaign. We will also have complete sponsorship of AP's finance section throughout the campaign.
Hey, Gabby, I had a question that came in from Larry. Larry asks, why the significant emphasis on left of center media? I'm not sure I agree with him, because we've got the NFL, the Wall Street Journal, Fox News, but how do we pick, we think of the target market both left and right center. How do you answer Larry?
I definitely think we take an unbiased approach to our targeting. It's mainly focused on our MAIs that reach that more demographic and psychographic analysis versus any left or right center. But we do also think that for the primary focus of the campaign, we want to reach people exactly where they are in their digital journey, and that's across various channels.
And we're on Fox News,
yes,
right? And we're in the Wall Street Journal,
correct?
And we're in various
CNN.
sports. So, Larry, I want to answer your question. We want to be responsive, but I'm not sure that we agree with your. Do you have anything to add, Jim?
No, I think we take a fair and balanced approach in all of our media.
There you go. All right. Where are we, folks?
Slide.
Next slide, please.
The campaign utilizes digital animated display ads, which you see here, as well as interactive media placements. We'll go over the interactive media placements in a minute. The messaging of the animated display ads incorporates elements from the TV spot, including asking the right questions and, is your financial advisor a CFP professional? The digital display banners will run across desktop, mobile, and tablets within premium and contextually relevant environments. Again, the call to action links directly to the letsmakeaplan.org website, where consumers can search for a CFP professional.
Abby, Regina asks, good afternoon. Will some of the ads be diversified? I think they mean, will they show diverse people in the ads?
So we're focused on using the TV spot to incorporate a lot of our messaging across different channels. We don't have any different types of talent that is included, but we do have different messaging and different types of CTA actions or call to actions that will be varied across different channels. That'll be specific to the channel itself that it will be on. So not necessarily different talent, but different tactics.
Great. Next slide.
Here are some interactive media placements, which help drive awareness while allowing the audience to engage more within the units. Our interactive
Wait a
placement-
second. What's a unit?
A unit or placement in advertising speak is really where you're going to see a digital display banner, as you see on the screen now. And a lot of the different units can be different types. So we have a typical banner that you see on the left. You have a takeover, which will be in the middle. So you can see it's across the full screen, and that's including our interactive units. And then on the right is actually CTV or connected TV, which is, again, in unit. It's something that they see on a different type of display.
Is it a pop-up?
It can be. So pop-ups are included in our interactive units. We also have them that incorporate full takeover of a screen. We have them on mobile and on tablets as well.
Great. Please, sorry to interrupt you.
No,
Please
of course.
continue.
Similar to the digital animated ads, the interactive placements will run across desktop, mobile, and tablets, as well as smart TVs, as you see here, within the premium and contextually relevant environments we know our MAA targets are. These placements will be with the intent to meet the target audience where they already are in their digital journey, causing minimal disruption to their overall experience, which is exactly the point of the ads. The intent of our paid social ads is primarily to help raise overall brand awareness and secondarily to drive traffic to letsmakeaplan.org. We will be running paid social media ads across Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, and a newer social platform called Quora. Quora has a feed similar to Reddit. It is question forum based, which ties into our messaging to ask the right questions. This is a new social media platform on the plan this year, so we're doing an in-market test to capture insights that will help us reach our target audience where they are. Next, Jim will share more of the PR and other communications that are an important component of the campaign.
To extend our paid media efforts that Gabby just shared, we'll seek to maximize and optimize public relation opportunities and use CFP Board ambassadors to extend our brand message. CFP Board ambassadors are CFP professionals who serve as representatives of CFP certification on a voluntary basis. They appear in a variety of media and give a local voice to our consumer advocacy and mission to benefit the public. We also continue to optimize our own social and web channels to enhance both reach and frequency.
Hang on one second. James asked, are there any ads on LinkedIn? Are we using LinkedIn?
We are not using paid LinkedIn this year. And that is because last year we actually saw that our target audience isn't really relating to that type of unit and they're not engaging on that platform.
But James, as we think about growing the workforce and our workforce initiative, in other words, growing the pipeline of talent, Jim, LinkedIn is a
LinkedIn will be one of them. And we are using LinkedIn organically.
Correct.
So it won't be paid media placements, but we will be having organic posts on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
All paid and organic efforts, Kevin, drive consumers to our letsmakeaplan.org website to make an informed decision by engaging with and learning from the site's content and to find a CFP professional through the search tool. Letsmakeaplan.org has over 2.4 million users and more than 4.3 million page views annually. So it's important for CFP certificants to make sure that their online profiles are up to date, and more importantly, that their profiles include a photo. We learned from a recent usability test by consumers that those profiles, which include the CFP certificant's photo, were perceived as more trustworthy and likely to be contacted for financial planning services. The site's consumer-facing content, written by our ambassadors, is updated weekly to help aid traffic to the website, while also offering relevant and important information. To extend the campaign's reach overall, we also make available to CFP certificants the campaign's assets. The 2024 PAC Toolkit at cfp.net.
Wait, PAC,
Public Awareness Campaign.
right? Not Political Action Committee. Right.
So our 2024 Toolkit at cfp.net/PAC includes a variety of resources, including the new TV spots, digital banner ads, promotional marketing material, and sample social media posts. The toolkit is designed for certificates to use in support of their own professional branding and marketing initiatives. The assets may be used to link directly to a CFP professional's profile on letsmakeaplan.org. The toolkit will be available starting Monday, March 18th, this coming Monday, when the campaign officially launches. As I mentioned earlier, now is a great time for CFP professionals who are accepting new clients to create or update their Find a CFP Professional profile, which can be accessed through their CFP Board account. Now I'll pass it back to you, Kevin.
Right, I think this is the fun part. We'll go to Q&A. Before we take the first question, Rachel says that she really appreciates the YouTube link, so we'll send that out today since we couldn't watch it online. That's good. Jeff, he's opposite of our person who wondered why we were so left of center. He said, why are we doing anything right of center? So I didn't mean to start something there, so we'll go right ahead. First question. Bob wrote in ahead of time, and then Hank, as we were starting today, asked, is there a way to measure how effective the campaign is? I'm going to give you that, Jim, and then I want to hear from the advertising agency, and then I have a thought or two as well.
Bob, great question. The answer is yes. Our primary measure of the campaign's effectiveness is made through what we call our brand tracking study. We've done this sort of study every year of the campaign conducted by an independent research organization. The first study was conducted immediately before our first campaign in 2011, and we repeat the study each year during the final weeks of the TV advertising run. Last year, we found that unaided awareness of CFP certification was double what it was before the first campaign launched in 2011, and total awareness was measured at 90%, the highest we've ever seen so far.
From a media perspective, it's definitely a holistic approach. We look at every tactic throughout the 9-week campaign, and we have reporting and ongoing optimizations throughout the campaign.
So even before we launched the campaign, as I was traveling the country and talking to certificates, that was going to be there. That was the question that came up the most. How are you going to measure a public awareness campaign? And, you know, if you think about the goal of the campaign, it's to increase awareness. So the way we're going to measure it is through, as Jim said, the brand awareness tracking survey. So that's how we'll do that. Questions coming in online. We're going to try just if we're going to do a couple more questions, and we're going to try one more time, see if we can make the ad work. If we can't, we apologize, but we're going to try one more time. Vincent asks, will we be able to share the content on our social media platforms? Jim?
Vincent, yes, please do. So all the content will be available at cfp.net/PAC on Monday. And we really encourage all certificates to share all the assets on their own platforms.
Great. We want to make that easy to do. Susan asks, what percentage of our dues, we have renewal fees, not dues, because we're not a membership association. But Susan, she asks, what % of our fees are going to be spent on the campaign? So of your $455 fee, $160 of each annual renewal fee goes toward the direct cost of the public awareness campaign. So that's about a third of the fee. Susan, I would tell you, that's just the direct cost. We apply no overhead to that. It is to buy media, to pay for the agency. We have nearly $500,000 in credit card processing fees that come out of that as well. But there's no overhead. It's just the direct costs.
And Kevin, to add to that, we also don't pay commissions on our media. So, you know, our partners at Bunton, you know, they negotiate the best rates possible and also get us a lot of add value through our media buy.
Jim, a question here from Kristen. May CFP, can they get the information from this slideshow presentation, including dates of ad placements, campaign, etc.? It would be great to share with our business members and collaborate. So are we going to make the schedule available?
We could find a way to post it or share it broadly. It comes out weekly.
Yeah.
So we don't have the broadcast schedule, you know, for the entire length of the 9-week campaign. But we'll definitely share it as much as we can on social media. We'll get it out there.
Great. Gabby, Ron asks, how are you ensuring that this campaign reaches a diverse audience?
Thank you for asking the question, Ron. The campaign is designed to reach a variety of diverse audiences across the media channels. The media mix is selected based on high performance ratings to reach our target audience. Specific programming selected not only as high ratings, but also ensures we are reaching diverse audiences. For example, we purchase advertising with CNN. One of the network shows is with Anderson Cooper, who not only rates high for our overall target audience, but also performs high with both Black and LGBT audiences. Likewise, we'll be running advertising across various Food Network programs, which have large female audiences. Knowing that sports programming rates high across all audiences, this year's media mix will include women's and men's live programming for both PGA and the NCAA.
Here's a question that I don't know that we have an answer to. Last year's campaign was called Bungee. Tom wonders, will we continue to use Bungee or not? It's not contemplated this year, but
it won't be across TV, but we are looking to engage it within digital platforms as well this year. So we'll have some implementation across social media, different types of digital platforms, but not across TV, essentially.
Especially after the 9-week campaign run.
Great. All right. Next question. Are we ready? Do we think we're gonna, let me do one more question and then we'll try one more time to see if we can't make the surgery ad run. Jim, Melissa asks, what items or material is already pre-approved by her firm that advisors are able to use? Is any of the campaign going to be available in a social media library? So would you,
Melissa, thank you for your question. As I mentioned earlier, the campaign assets will be available through our toolkit at cfp.net/PAC. However, CFP Board does not provide the campaign materials to any specific firms' compliance teams. So it's really up to you to get the assets cleared through your compliance office. But we do hope that you'll be able to share, at least on your social media platforms, some of the assets as well as the videos.
Great. Are we ready to run the ad one more time? We'll try one more time. We apologize for the technical difficulties. Staff is scrambling. We're going to try this one more time before we go to another question.
We are ready.
Great. Let's roll it. I always wanted to say that.
Hey there, Brenda.
It's Carol.
Exactly. So which leg are we operating on?
You mean arm?
It's all connected. Asking the right question can greatly impact your future.
Are you sure you're an orthopedist?
Actually, I'm a Sagittarius, especially when it comes to your finances.
You have a question? Are you a certified financial planner? Yes, I'm a CFP professional.
CFP professionals are committed to acting in your best interest. That's why it's gotta be a CFP. Find your CFP professional at letsmakeaplan.org.
Great. I hope that worked through and went down line. So we appreciate the staff scrambling to make that work. Next question, Jim, this one's for you. Jeff asks, how did you choose that target audience, that 35 to 64?
Through research, Jeff. It's a blend of a demographic and psychographic characteristics that allow us to identify which consumers are most likely to engage with a financial advisor. Being targeted with our advertising allows us to allocate our media budget to more efficiently and effectively.
I get it, but I know what Jim is asking. You know what he's asking too, right? Because a lot of people say, well, I focus on ultra high net worth, or I focus my retirement. I'm like the pre-retirement, so my target is 50 to 60. How do we, say more about that? Because there's part of the media buy, right? Gabby, jump in here as well, but.
And the psychodemographic profile is really their habits. So it's their habits that allow us to pick the programming. The demographic information is what allows us to buy the market. So whether it's CNN, what rates high, Fox News, business, but it's the actual programming that we align with the psychodemographic profile that makes our target, the MAI, a proprietary target. Do you have anything to add, Gabby?
I think that's exactly it. I also would add that I think one thing to note with media purchasing is that a lot of the time we are looking not only at the age of the demographic, but also, to Jim's point, their habits and what they're most going to be engaged with in the digital space. And then we look to make sure that we're meeting them in the right environment.
Yeah, and look, our budget, what is something like 0.5% of all advertising money spent by banks, brokerages, and insurance companies. So we've got to be really targeted. I wish we had enough money to expand that target, but we also want to be effective at moving the needle. So look, if you remember all of those media properties that were there, they all have audiences older than 64. Golf, the golf channel, the news channels all have audiences, and they all have audiences that have more assets to manage, some less, but we're trying to pick the most relevant target right in the center of the bullseye so that we can have be effective in moving that needle. A couple more questions here. Let's see what else has come in. Jeff says, bravo, the new ad looks great. So we thank Jeff for that. That's good feedback. Will there ever be promotional material that can be branded with our own company's branding?
Jeff, is that from Jeff? Or is
No, that's Scott. Scott writes that in, right?
Scott, we do get that question often. You can take the assets that are in the toolkit and link to your profile on letsmakeaplan.org. You can even take those assets and use them to link to your company profile page if you have a company website. But right now, the assets are not available for you to add your company logo. But you can definitely use the assets to link to your own personal marketing materials.
Right. Check with your compliance department always. Eddie asks, will the animated banner be available similar to the CFP artwork to be used on advisor websites?
It will be, yes. So similar to what Jim said about the PAC toolkit, that will be included. We'll have digital banners that they will be able to download and use on their websites.
Craig with a K asks about LinkedIn again. We've answered that already. It didn't really perform as well. And while the campaign is in market, we're looking at we're looking at results on a daily basis, are we not?
Correct, especially for paid social units. We're looking, or placements, sorry.
Using units, there you're using the units again.
We are looking at different social platforms, including Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest, and the new one being Quora this year, to understand what's the best contextually relevant place.
What has surprised you the most that's either worked or not worked as you think about our campaign over the last year?
I would say probably TV attribution, which I mentioned earlier when I was going through the process of all of our new tactics.
How well it worked, or
how well it worked.
Right.
Correct. Last year, we actually did a test in TV attribution to understand how our TV spot was actually engaging.
What's TV attribution?
So it's essentially when someone sees our spot, they're then going to go to the letsmakeaplan.org website directly after seeing our TV spot. So it's understanding how people are engaging with our TV spots, essentially. This is very new technology in our space in the media world, essentially because
it's really kind of scary, Gabby.
It can be scary, but the idea is that we're actually trying to engage people at a much deeper level with these big awareness tactics like TV. And with this type of technology, we're then able to say, okay, our TV unit or TV placement, is performing well for this demographic, and they're going to the website to do the intended call to action that we want, which is for them to go look for a CFP professional.
We're able to measure it last year within 7 days, correct?
Exactly.
So from the time that the ad appeared on a television set, we were able to measure if that individual in that household went on their computer, on their mobile device, tablets, laptops, computers in their household, and actually went to letsmakeaplan.org, which was phenomenal. And we performed so well last year that they even did a case study on our campaign last year.
They did. And I want to also
they
is our partner, attribution TV partner that we work with on the media side. They being a really great partner to invest in. They basically helped us to understand what our attribution tactic did. And we actually saw that it drove 60% after 72 hours of seeing the TV spot. 60% of the demographic went to letsmakeaplan.org.
Go ahead,
One
please.
other thing I was going to just mention, I know that it sounds a little scary and it could be a little big brother, but it's at the household level. So it's not something that feels like you're going to an individual only and targeting just one person.
Got it.
So it matters to certificants to make sure their profiles are up to date, because we know people are going to letsmakeaplan.org. And if they're looking for clients, this campaign can help them get clients.
John wants to know if there's any reason we're not using X, or formerly known as Twitter.
I would say that's probably going back to why we're not doing any biased type of buys on our media plan. We're really trying to be as unbiased as possible with our TV, our media, all of our channel mixes. And we find that X does have a stronger biased approach and message that we're trying to avoid.
They also have attribution issues going on right now. It's hard to track. It keeps going up and down. We just know that even from CFP Board's X account. Some months, we have a lot of followers. Other months we have very few, and the data is just not consistent right now.
John wants to know, how do you spell Quora? It's Q.
Quora.
All right, so we've answered John's question. The ad looks fantastic. Looking forward to seeing the metrics moving on the needles. So are we. So is the board of directors, by the way, because we report these results annually. We have KPI performance metrics at the staff level. Again, it's both art and science. Just like with your clients, everybody wants a 10 or 12% return year after year, but we're doing the right things the right number of times in the right places to get the right result. And I think that's what CFP's professionals should know. Will we have new Zoom backgrounds? I don't know about that. I don't know why Steve wants to know
We
that.
could definitely make those available.
We actually have the same ones from 2023 available this year as well. We do have the It's Gotta Be a CFP tagline, which is the most popular from last year. So we just decided to keep that one for this year.
All right, I think we're down to maybe just a couple final questions. We've talked about social media. Jim had asked about, will social media be a part of the campaign? I think we've covered that. Yes, it absolutely will. Oh, here's somebody said, while we didn't have the audio up, we had both a 30 and a 15. The shorter commercial, obviously, you're able to say less, get more across. Wouldn't the longer ad be more effective? Asks Jim. I think the answer is yes, but say more.
I think again, it always is going to depend on where the ad is showing. So for TV, of course, we would prefer a 30-second spot to have that longer story told. For our other tactics, such as radio or even social media, you have to think of the audience at hand. They're usually having a shorter span of attention, and a 6-second or a 15-second, 10-second spot will engage them more at that frequency versus having a longer spot to engage with.
Well, and a 30-second ad is twice as expensive as a 10 or 15-second ad, isn't it?
Exactly.
All right. Gabby, Stephen asks, how does the media plan take into account all of the ad-free options for TV and video? How do you make sure people see our ad?
That's a great question, Stephen. Despite the influx of streaming and subscription platforms that have emerged, we definitely see that there's no shortage of impressions for the campaign ads. We leverage value add and integrations across several mass-reaching national cable networks to insert CFP certification branded assets within programming content versus commercial breaks. We also only invest in non-skippable premium ad inventory. That means that someone can't skip the ad that they're watching. Therefore, even if someone subscribes to ad-free platforms, we're still able to reach our target customer.
I think this will make this the last question, and I'll come back to each of you for a final word. Sue had asked before the webinar started, and then Michael just writes in, how do you select your talent the actors, the actresses, the voiceover for the campaign, or similar, some version of that. The actors in the commercial were selected with a mind toward depicting people that kind of fit into the target audience, both age, demographics. We're always trying to show, a diverse a diverse set of people, both as advisors and as clients. But I think we've done really well. That's part of the art of the advertising piece when we were putting the ads together, right? The agency, Bunton in Nashville, sent us, here, it was kind of like a casting call, and we looked at them, and so it's a bit of a creative process, right?
It definitely is. From our production end, where you try to be as relatable as possible when we're selecting talent, to make sure that the people that you're seeing on your screen are people that you see every day.
Or slightly more attractive. No, it's an in-house joke. All right. So, Gabby, last word from Bunton. Gabby Finizzi is our account rep for one of our account folks on the account. Last word for you on behalf of the agency.
Thank you so much for having me today. This was wonderful. I really hope that the surgery spot is the best that performs. We're really excited for launch on Monday.
Great. Jim Katsounis, CFP Board's Managing Director of Marketing and Communications.
I hope our certificants are excited about It's Gotta Be a CFP as much as we are. Last year was a total breakthrough. We hit all-time highs. We're expecting to reach great highs this year with our results. And I really hope that our certificants share the assets, are proud of the campaign, and they have clients asking them, are you a CFP professional?
Indeed. So this idea for a public awareness campaign really came from CFP professionals as we travel around the country periodically listening to CFPs. Clear back in 2009 and 10, I was hearing a desire for a campaign or more advertising. I asked the question, would you be willing to pay? I come from agriculture where all of the commodity programs like beef, it's what's for dinner, and the egg is incredible, and pork is the other white meat, and cotton and everybody else. Those are producer funded efforts. And this public awareness campaign follows in the spirit of that effort. And we at CFP Board think that we have the best jobs. We're so proud to be working on behalf of nearly 100,000 CFP professionals. We will cross the line next
Soon.
month
Yes.
when the results of the March exam come out. I just got the details today. March will be our second largest exam ever. And, so we continue to grow in an effort to provide more access to more Americans to competent and ethical financial planning. Thank you all for joining us today. I'm Kevin Keller. We're here with the team in Washington, D.C. Have a great day.